Hi, e-tailers. Let's talk about updating your product costs. The product vendor cost is what it costs you to order a single unit of a product from your vendor. So whenever your vendor updates their costs, has a cost increase, and sends you a new catalog, then it's time for you to update your costs in SELLIT Plus and also to update your retail price to reflect the increase. So I'm going to show you how to create a worksheet and get your costs updated. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do is go to Manage Catalog and then go to Product Vendors. I need to export a template that I can use to import the updated costs. By using this button, Export Product Vendor Sample, I can get a copy of my current vendor costs, and I can also get the template all at the same time. So I'm going to use that and make sure that I know where I save it. I'm going to save it in my documents, and that's fine. So when I go ahead and open this up and take a look at it, the first tab is going to be my template that I'm going to use to import my products. The tab should be called Import, so if it's not, then you need to rename it. If it is, then that's fine, you're ready to go. So this is going to be my template, and this is the product vendors that I've already exported. So I want to save my current settings just in case I need to go back to them for any reason. So I'm going to go ahead and make a copy of this sheet, move or copy, and I'm going to do create a copy. And this is my copy. I'm going to use this and rename it to my cost worksheet, because now I have a copy of my product vendors that I can go ahead and edit, and I don't have to worry about messing up my original sheet. So the first thing I want to do is filter this by the vendor that I'm going to update costs for. I can just click anywhere in my table and then go to the Data tab in Excel and click the Filter button, and it'll automatically add drop-down arrows to every single column of my table in the first row. So now I can edit by the vendor ID. Problem is, I have to find out what the vendor ID is, so that's easy to find out. You just go back to Manage Catalog, Product Vendors, and you can go ahead and search for it, or you can scroll through, whatever is easier for you. And I can see right here that the vendor ID for Honeybee Pet Adventures is 3386. So that's all I need right there. I'll go back to my spreadsheet, use the filter I just added to filter by 3386. I could either scroll through and do it manually, or I could just start typing, and that was super easy. I also like to delete columns that are not relevant to me. It makes it less cluttered, so I'm going to delete is private, and the default vendor, I'm going to delete that also. I don't need those. Now I'm able to use this to look up either the UPC or the vendor SKU in my product catalog and return the new updated costs. To have a place to put those, I'm just going to insert a new column right here. I'm going to rename default cost to old cost, and the new column is going to be new cost. To get the new cost, there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can manually look them up and copy and paste or type them in. You can use a formula, like let's say you know that the increase was 3% across the board. You could use a formula to increase it. Or you could use the more advanced techniques like VLOOKUP or XLOOKUP to populate the sheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use XLOOKUP. To do that, I'm going to use a formula to match the UPC in this column with the UPC in my vendor catalog, and then return the new cost. So my formula is equals XLOOKUP, open parentheses, and I want to look up this UPC, and notice it's in the same row. Then I'm going to type a comma, and I'm going to go to my catalog, and I'm going to click on the UPC column because this is where I want to look up that UPC, and another comma, and I want it to return the vendor cost. So I'm going to highlight that column and then press enter. eTail Pet does not really support spreadsheets or offer support for that. But we do have a knowledge base article with spreadsheet tips and tricks that has links to some very helpful articles that can help you master Excel a little more if that's something that you want to do. Now that I have the formula here, I can just click in that cell and double click in the bottom right corner to copy that formula all the way down. And you notice this one says NA, that means it didn't find that row. That's fine, I can look that up later, but I'm going to need to delete that. Otherwise, it's going to probably cause my import to fail. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that one right now. And then I'll go ahead and just save my cost worksheet. And now I'm ready to put my data into my import template, which is the first tab, remember, that we renamed import. You'll need to copy and paste either the system ID or the UPC into your import sheet in order to import these. I like to use the system ID because I don't have to worry about leading zeros or anything like that. So I'm going to click in the first row and then do Control Shift down arrow and then Control C to copy. Go to my import page and right click and use the 1, 2, 3 for values only. This way I don't have any formulas or weird little characters or anything. I don't need both of these columns, so I'm going to leave UPC blank. Next I need the vendor ID and the vendor SKU and the default costs. So let's go take a look at those. Let's see, the vendor ID, the vendor SKU. I don't need the old costs, so I'm just going to take these two columns, Control Shift down, Control C, and go back to the import template, right click in the first cell, and use the 1, 2, 3 icon to paste the values only. So now I have 3 columns. Now I need the new default cost. So I'm going to go back to my worksheet. I want the new cost, not the old cost. So I'm going to click in that column, Control Shift down, Control C to copy, and right click, 1, 2, 3 for values only. And lastly but not leastly, yes, that's a word, I just made it up. We're going to copy the order in multiples the same way. Control Shift down arrow, Control C to copy, and then right click, 1, 2, 3 values only. Now my sheet is all filled out with the copy and paste of all the information that I'm going to need to import these updated prices. So go ahead and save your worksheet. Go on over to Manage Catalog, Product Vendors, and click on Import Update Product Vendors. Upload Excel file. Choose your import template that you just got done updating. And you should get a success message that says import completed in however many milliseconds, which means that your import was successful. So that's all there is to it. Go on ahead and go back and spot check a few of those and make sure they imported correctly the way you expected them to, and then you're ready to go on to the next video for updating the retail pricing. Thanks for listening.